Hello, it's me, it's Recky, and welcome back to another severe weather reaction with Recky. We have been through many, and we're gonna continue doing this because I had that as a weird interest, and this one is stories of Texans who lived through 2021's historic winter storm. And for me, I didn't know it's actually snowed in Texas. I didn't know that, so that's kind of weird. Uh, Was this you guys gotta help me out with this one. Was this like an event that was like a freak event, like snow in Texas? Has it happened before? Etc. etc. You guys help me out with this one. Uh I asked my patrons and my channel members which was the next severe weather reaction I should do. A bunch of amazing suggestions came out from the amazing people that support me. You know, that bit extra. This one got a bit more attention than the others. So I thought, well, I'm going to do this. Troy Ross was the one who suggested it. So let's do this. If you do enjoy this, I want you to smack the like and, of course, hit that subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. We say thank you to the channel members and the patrons. Thank you so much for the support. It means freaking everything. Big shout out to the Supreme Tier donators, Patreon, and channel membership. Personal shout outs to the ultimate supporter, our friend Deja, Walt, Tammy, and Roni. You guys rock. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's do this.
You start thinking about like crazy things, like whenever you're cold. I'm sitting there thinking about things that I can light on fire in my living room.
It was the
Wow.
first time I saw how fast established order could absolutely disintegrate.
It brings me tears to even think about it now, because I lost so much that I can't replace.
In February 2021, a historic winter storm devastated Texas, significantly impacted every county in the state. It's so weird. The power outage that followed led to the loss of hundreds of lives and billions of... What are you talking about? Hundreds of lives? I don't care about the money. Hundreds of lives? A year later, Texas Tribune spoke dozens of Texans by phone about their experience during the storm and the chaotic days that followed.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, it's a good time. I'm on lunch now. I appreciate you even offering to talk to me about it. It was just a bad situation that I'll never forget, to be honest.
This is a severe weather alert.
We could be talking about record cold we haven't seen in decades.
It is a perfect storm to bring the coldest of the air right down into Texas.
Are pipes going to burst? Are we going to see power outages, rolling blackouts because of demand?
This is a real threat.
When I first heard about Texas getting snow, I honestly thought it was a joke.
I get that.
At the time, I kind of looked through my pantry to see if I had some canned goods.
The typical preparations that you make.
I do have a little generator, so I went to get fuel. The only service station I could find that was open in Athens only had diesel and it had premium, so I had to buy premium gasoline to put in my generator.
I thought it was going to be just 1 or 2 days. I did not realize the storm was going to last for a full week.
Wow.
It was Valentine's Day when it started snowing.
It was kind of joyous because we don't have snow very often in Texas.
My dog loved it, rolled in it, shoved her nose in it, had a great time that first day, not being particularly worried.
Everywhere was covered in snow. I mean, like everywhere. I mean, it was beautiful. It looked pretty. However, when we lost power, that was when, my daughter began to panic. I just really was not prepared. And you know, on the news, they said that we were going to have rolling blackouts, meaning like our electricity was going to be cut off for a certain amount of time and then it will pop back on.
I mean, that's such a weird thing. Snow can be beautiful. I mean, I love snow in the sense of it actually being the proper temperature. It's like that crackling sound when you walk on it. We don't get that down here. It snows like hell. Then it's gonna be rain, and during the night it's gonna freeze. So it's like driving on an ice hockey rink to work. This is what we have in Sweden. If you go up all the way north, that's when the snow is. That's where the mountains are in Sweden. And it's such a weird contrast just because most of you guys in America think that Sweden is just packed with snow and mountains. That is not a fact. I mean, if you go up all the way up north, that's a fact. But I live down way down south, and we don't get a lot of snow. Unfortunately, we do get a lot of rain.
Well, that didn't happen.
So nearly 3 million customers without power this morning.
Rolling outages, power outages across the state.
That leaves up to 2 million Texans without guaranteed warmth for what looks to be an incredibly frigid night ahead.
That's insane.
Power went out for about 30 minutes to an hour, but then it came back on. We were able to finish dinner and everything was fine. And then it's off for like 2 or 3 more hours. It was probably about 15, 18 degrees outside. My mother-in-law's COPD, once the temperature gets down to about 60, it starts getting a little rough. The house was dropping to about 40s.
Ooh.
It gets to the point where the mother-in-law is struggling so much to breathe that we can't do anything about it. Her oxygen machine's not working. We can't maintain oxygen levels, so we had to call 911.
There is a moment of panic that goes through your mind because you actually don't know how cold it's going to get. One of my neighbors across the way, they're in their late 60s, resorted to chopping up some of their furniture to burn as heat, as a source for heat.
At night, my son would run the car all night, and him and a few of the kids, they would swap out in the car to stay warm, and I stayed in my room underneath just as many blankets as I can.
The biggest story for me was the helplessness around making sure my parents were okay, because like without heat, I was concerned with both of their fragile health, that was gonna, that was a deadly situation for them.
I was stuck in the dark with no electricity for 72 hours.
Whoa.
And it was cold. Every time I breathed, I could see my breath.
Holy.
I was sad. I was angry. I was confused. I literally cried.
By the time we even thought about going to the store, the shelves were already empty. People were waiting in these lines for hours and hours just to get like bread and milk.
I have 6 children, and I'm a disabled veteran. And so I lived check to check, and I didn't have very much food in the house. I remember I told the kids that we should probably go to the store the next day. The next morning, the ice had already covered over the roads. So when we tried to go anywhere, the car just started sliding, and so we didn't go nowhere. We just came back home. There was only a couple of days worth of food. We ate once a day, and it was like a can of raviolis, and everybody just kind of shared it. It looked like the end of the world had happened.
Hang in there, folks. Only a couple more nights of this winter storm before it starts to feel like Texas again.
And we are not out of the woods yet. We're going to have another hard freeze tonight, which could put your pipes at risk again.
We left right before the next snowstorm hit because it was just getting too cold, and we didn't want to be in the apartment without any power for days. When we came back, I think the end of the week, found out that my apartment had flooded.
It was just shocking.
we were splashing on our carpets and just seeing pictures that had gone on the ground, ruined.
It just hurt me more that my daughter had to shed tears and cry. It damaged her room the most, so a lot of her things had to be thrown away. There's people who lost things that, you can't replace.
My parakeets froze. They died because it was too cold. Some of my fish died, and I lost a goat.
The older horses just became lethargic and they couldn't get up. One of them, we actually had to put it down ourselves. It's hard to not feel guilty that you couldn't do anything.
My sick father, he contracted COVID. He chose to self-quarantine because he didn't want to obviously spread COVID to everybody. And for a heart patient, somebody whose blood doesn't get pumped through their system like the rest of us, it's really bad to even go 30 minutes without heat in the house. And he was also at the time using a CPAP machine, and all of that goes away when there's no electricity. He passed away on the 22nd. I regret not going over and checking on him.
There is a bit of encouraging news this morning. The temperatures later today are expected to get back above freezing for the first time since this past weekend.
This cold snap has really been something for the record books, that's for sure.
When the power came back on, I think we all cheered. We all was trying to argue over who's gonna get in the tub first.
Honestly, I think the first thing that was on everybody's mind was showers.
Turn the heater on and turn it up. And then checking on my neighbors to make sure that their power had come back on too.
It was really heartwarming to see how everyone pitched in and helped each other out. We saw the best in each other during this time, and I like to think there's just something uniquely Texan about looking out for our neighbors.
We would check on each other, us neighbors, because we live in a big building.
The community, everybody in Odom was getting together and giving each other pipes so they can fix their pipes, and neighbors and everybody else. We all did it together.
I actually just got back from Florida. When we got our first cold snap, I've just made up in my mind I won't stay here again for that. Yeah, I don't think I want to live through that ever again.
I understand that.
My wife says every time I talk about it, I sound like I'm scared, but I guess I am. It's just, I don't want to go through that anymore. We have water, we have food, we bought a generator.
We bought a generator.
We were going to invest in a generator.
And just considered that part of our life now.
Oh my God.
I don't think any Texan is happy with how ERCOT handled the situation.
I don't think Texas is a bad state.
ERCOT. Let's see if I can get what that actually means. Give me a second here. ERCOT.
I don't think any Texan is happy with how ERCOT
Electric Reliability Council of Texas
handled the situation.
I don't think Texas is a bad state, and I don't think it's mismanaged overall, but this is a specific thing that really needs some serious addressing.
I mean, what can you do in a situation where you can't do anything and you have to rely on the state, county, or in my world, the municipality? You can't do anything, so you just put your life in the hands of the people that you elected, the people that you wanted to the government. I understand, because I feel the same way in Sweden.
Since the grid hasn't really been repaired, I feel like this is going to happen again.
I signed 12 new laws after that storm to make
12?
sure that our power grid is resilient and reliable and stable, even during the harshest of winter storms.
Can you give a guarantee that the lights are going to stay on? I can guarantee the lights will stay on.
Oh, that's cool. Improvements to Texas power facility to help them withstand winter weather are costly and take time to implement. State lawmakers did not prescribe quick improvements for gas producers in the power grid supply chain. Many experts believe that for now the grid is still vulnerable to other blackout events. Wow. I wasn't expecting this at all. I don't know why, I just feel like it's gonna be one of those, oh, happy, no one's gonna suffer, no one's gonna lose their loved ones. I don't know why. I feel like I'm such a gullible idiot thinking that everything is gonna be a-okay, and in the end, of course, it did. In Sweden at the moment, sometimes the electricity is really, really expensive. So me and my wife, we try to keep down the heat, and we actually talked about when it's super expensive, we're gonna let's turn off the furnace and just try to make it. And one night we decided to it's gonna cost us about just a little over $1 per kilowatt hour, and we decided that we're gonna turn off the furnace, we're gonna live through it. So we put on a movie and grab a couple of blankets, and we couldn't do it. I'm not saying that I could see my own breath, but the cold was getting into our souls in a way that never ever happened to me before. I put on a jacket and I sat down in front of my computer with a big jacket on, and it couldn't do it. Went back to the movies, and I could see that Carol was suffering due to the cold. I was getting agitated. I was getting in a really bad mood because I was freezing so much. I couldn't imagine that I had to do that for 72 hours. I mean, we had blankets, we had covers, so we had everything, but it didn't help. It just went through everything, and I could feel the coldness on my all the way into my bones. It's cold. Being cold is, for me, probably the worst you can be, even though you can put on a lot of clothes. If that doesn't help, you're screwed. If it's warm, you can have AC, you can have fans, you can go for a swim, cold showers, but in this case, you couldn't do anything. And the pain the Texans had at that moment, I felt that, and losing family and pets was heartbreaking. I really appreciate the Troy, thank you so much for actually suggesting this one. I enjoyed watching it. In a weird way, you know what I mean. I'm gonna wrap it up here. If you did enjoy this, I want you to smack the like and of course hit that subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. If you want to become one of the awesome people, click join to become a member, or check out the amazing cool link in the comment section. Everything Recky. And if you want to, you can check out some of my merchandise. It's available at the moment as well. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. I'm Recky. You stay safe.